Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this online social awareness campaign. Today, we have with us Sarya Kayal, and she's gonna, brief us through her vitiligo journey and when she got it and how has her journey been throughout. So, over to you, Sarya. Please go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know your inspiring journey, and please share in your own words.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Sam. Um, so my name is Sarya, as you mentioned earlier. My vitiligo journey started when I was about 3 years old. So
Oh,
I didn't really know much about it because I
yeah,
was a kid.
yeah.
And it also wasn't very known around in my area. So it
Uh-huh.
took a bit of time to actually figure out what it was. Had a few doctors come down from overseas to have a look at it. So I
Uh-huh.
felt like a bit of a study case at the time. Um, Once we eventually figured it out, they started giving me some creams and, try this and try that. And
Yeah.
throughout my whole life, it was basically that started to spread over the years. So
Mhm.
it was always trying to fix something that was apparently broken.
Yeah.
Um, and so because of all of it, eventually when I was in high school and, started wearing like the school skirts and
Mhm. Mhm.
whatnot, 'cause it's mainly on my legs and
Yeah.
my neck. So it wasn't very visible. It was only on my face. Um, when I was about in year 9, I reckon,
Uh-huh.
started to creep up onto my face. Oh, no, sorry, year 7, yeah, about that time. So it was then that it got a bit heavier for me because it
Mhm.
was on my face, but I did a UV treatment and then that disappeared. And it was okay for a bit because I could really cover up all those areas, but that actually started irritating me later on because a
Mhm.
lot of people would dismiss the fact that I have it
Yeah.
because it's not really visible. It's on my legs, on my neck, things that, we can cover.
Yeah.
It's not usually so visible. So, yeah, that got a bit hard to deal with. But over the years, you learn to accept yourself for who you are and
Mhm.
can't really change some of the things that you're given in life. So you kind of learn to accept them and be grateful for them. So, the fact that I have it on my legs, I mean, I still have my legs and they still work and I get to walk with them and run with them and jump with them.
Yeah.
So, you know, got to kind of appreciate what you have um, rather than being upset with what you don't
Exactly.
have, which
Exactly.
is being normal and trying to fit in, I guess,
Yeah.
with other
Yeah.
kids. But yeah, that's in a nutshell pretty much it. I mean, such a long story. I've had it for 20 something years now. What am I,
Yeah.
27 this year? So a long time I've had it, over 2 decades. So
And you
yeah.
got it at a very young age. 3 years is like probably like you don't even know how to walk properly or have learned
Mm,
just few words, and then you get this, and you actually don't have any idea, right? I mean, at that point of time, like maybe later once you start growing up and start realizing what exactly is happening to your body or your skin, and that kind of affects you then, because then you see
yeah,
around people, who
yeah,
doesn't
that's
have that, and you are the only one in the crowd having it. So I
mm,
would like to know, at the point being wherein you actually had to cover yourself up because it was over your legs and stuff, and you could cover them up. So, what was the
yeah,
turning point wherein you start realizing that is not necessary? I can actually, wear whatever I want and then don't care about it at all. So, was there any
yeah,
turning point, like a person or a thing which actually inspired you to, let go of that situation or a mentality.
yeah. So I had a friend growing up
Mm.
who used to send me pictures of Winnie Harlow all the time,
Uh-huh.
you know, sh- to kind of get me to see, there's somebody who actually has it.
Yeah.
And I kind of dismissed it for a while, like, yeah, okay, that's cool, but she's a supermodel. Like, I'm not a
Yeah.
supermodel. And I struggled with myself and my self image already enough as it was, besides the vitiligo. Like, I
Mhm.
had my own self esteem problems, the way that I looked. I'm
Yeah.
Arab, so,
Yeah. Yeah.
one eyebrow and looked a lot different from all the blonde, blue eyed kids at
Uh-huh.
school. Um, but yeah, so I kind of like pushed that to the side for a while. It was only in my 20s, like early 20s. I mean, I'm still in them. I haven't finished yet. But yeah, early 20s when I started working full time and like I was living on my own and kind of
Uh-huh.
doing my own thing and becoming an independent person, that I started to realize that I was holding myself back a lot from, you know, having fun at events or going to the beach and having a good time and not feeling self-conscious and
Uh-huh.
covering myself up all the time. And, you know, it's not like I need to walk around naked, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
24/7, but it is um, hard to, like, you know, psych yourself into getting ready to go to the
yeah,
beach with
yeah.
friends who are, you know, I guess normal, and you've got to psych yourself up to be like, yeah, it's okay. Like, don't worry about it. You know,
Exactly.
you'll be fine. You can go. Because so many things happen all the time. Like, I've had people call things out, walk past me, whisper things to each other, you know, say things to my face, behind my back,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know, and I can hear it. Sometimes I'm like, do you know I'm here?
Yeah,
I'm right in
yeah.
front
It
of you,
happens all the time. Yeah.
you know? So you just kind of got to accept the fact that some people aren't nice, and that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah, yeah.
But that shouldn't change me and who I am.
Exactly.
And yeah, that was kind of the turning point when I started realizing, well, I want to do all these things, and I want to go out and I want to have fun, and I don't want to be all sweaty because I'm trying to
Yes.
cover what my body looks like. Like, I should be okay with myself in and out, and nobody should make me feel otherwise. I shouldn't let anybody make me feel that way. So
Yeah.
once I realized I was in control of it and it's not an external thing,
Other
it's
people.
actually
Yeah.
internal. You know, a lot of meditation happened, a lot of self-awareness happened. I studied psychology, which really opened up, or counseling,
Hmm.
got the diploma in that. That really opened up my eyes to a lot of things and understanding myself a lot more, and other people too. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it
It's
worked hand in
always,
hand.
a fight is always fought together with like-minded people or people who are there to support.
Mm.
So, how has your, family environment been around you through this journey? Like, were they very supportive? Because I understand from your, whatever you have told me so far, that your friends were very supportive towards you, right? You had like quite a few friends with you who knew you deep down inside, not just by how you look. So I would like to understand same thing, like how was your environment at home, or was it something that impacted you really?
So when I was younger, because I didn't really know anything about it,
Hmm.
um, my mom didn't really make it obvious that I was different. Like, she just treated
Yeah,
me the same. So my brothers and my sisters didn't even know there was something odd. You
yeah,
know, they knew I had spots, but it was never something we actually spoke about, which,
yes.
when I think about it, is not so good because it was never a conversation we had. We just
Uh-huh.
moved on. And I think later for me, like,
Hmm.
I learned to just suppress a lot of things and keep it down and bottled up
Okay.
and not really discuss things, or, you know, go get the help that I needed. I
Hmm.
kind of did a lot of self counseling, which I would not recommend for anyone. But, you know, you need help, you got to go get it. And that's a lot of, like, stigma around vitiligo, is that you do have a lot of mental health problems when it comes to it,
Exactly.
because it is something that's,
Yes.
you know, very striking, very obvious, very different.
Yes.
Um, but I didn't feel that way in my family. Nobody made me feel like that. And with my friends when I was younger, it was the
Hmm.
same. It was only, and I went to a school where we're covered up. So I went to
Okay.
an Islamic
Yeah.
school. So I
Yeah.
had a scarf on and, you know, long clothes on. So you didn't really see anything
Hmm.
on me. It was only once I started growing up and, like, you know, experimenting with fashion and
Yeah.
going to a public school where they wear short skirts and whatnot, that it really, it faced me. Like, I had to face it, you know, I had to deal with it, and I didn't. I just covered it up and I tried to work around it until I got
Okay.
into my 20s, where I actually dealt with it, and I went, no, like, I'm not wearing that dress because you can see my legs. I'm gonna wear that dress. um but yeah, they were very supportive.
They were very supportive. That's really great because, as you go through a lot of stuff in your life, and if your family is there to support you, to back you up, it really becomes easy for us as well. And there are a lot of people out there who doesn't have that privilege. I mean, they either have issues with their family or their friends, or in and around people. They are also like very neglecting and stuff. But it's really nice to know that you had a very supportive experience throughout. So, tell me something. Like right now, you have understood your body, and you've accepted yourself the way you are. So, have you come across any such situations like so far, wherein you have try to put in the same positivity into somebody else, because vitiligo is like 1 in 1,000, 1 in 100. It's just 2% to 5% of the entire population that has it. But
Yeah,
right now, when we are talking about body positivity or something positive in our life, it's not just restricted to some skin conditions. There are a lot of
that's
other.
right.
So I would like to know about a situation in your life which actually made you realize that I'm not just here to survive. I'm also here to inspire people. So do you
Yeah.
really have any such experience that you would like to share?
Yeah. So surviving, funny you say that. My whole life has been a survival, really. So
Uh-huh.
on top of the vitiligo, I grew up in a domestically violent home. So dad
Okay.
wasn't all that great. Um, and that really did affect me over the years. And I met a lot of people who had come from similar backgrounds,
Uh-huh.
or the fact that I went to an Islamic school, a lot of us are covered outside of school as well, and
Mhm.
that's something people struggle with, going out there and being covered
Yeah.
and feeling like everyone's staring and whatnot. So all throughout school, it was always that kind of like support of you can do it, like it's
Yeah.
fine, you don't have to worry about what anybody says. um I have ever since I started posting on Instagram, actually, um pictures of
Yeah.
myself and my vitiligo
Yeah.
and putting myself out there. I've had a lot of people message me and talk to me about it and talk to me about their experience they've never spoke to
Yeah.
anybody else about
Yeah.
before. Some people have vitiligo and you just don't know, as I was mentioning before,
Yeah.
areas that you can cover, and they don't tell anybody about it. So, to have someone to speak to and to have this community where people of differences come together,
Yes.
it's really heartwarming. I had a deputy principal actually message me. He
Hmm.
doesn't have vitiligo, but a student that started at his school had vitiligo.
Okay.
And he had messaged me saying, thank you so much. Like, because of you, I was able to help this girl start school and be
Wow.
comfortable being in school. And it's like, I don't expect these things. And when I do read these messages, I don't know what to do with them sometimes, because I'm like
You
all
were
I'm
really
doing is posting
overwhelmed. Yeah.
stuff and,
Yeah.
yeah, writing things about it. But, you know, like you said, being there, like, to help other people, not just
Yeah.
to survive in your own situation, but to help others out of their situations, whether it's something like psoriasis you have on your screen
Yes.
here. I'm,
Yes.
just been starting to follow this psoriasis warrior on Instagram, and he's got a lot of inspiring things up there and remedies of how to help yourself, when you're
Exactly.
having the condition, or what things to use. And there's a lot of people
Absolutely.
with vitiligo talking about self confidence and
Yes.
making yourself proud of who you are rather than putting yourself down all the time. So yeah, so many stories.
So many stories. Yeah. So that's nice. I mean, as you mentioned, right, we as a human being are not just here to survive, but also to help each other, grow up together. And that actually creates a wonderful environment around you, because you just don't want to see yourself as a leader who just, tries to move forward, but also takes
Yeah,
along everybody along with them. Because there's
yeah,
a space, I think there's a space for every one of us here.
mm,
It need not be like somebody, just one person, single person sitting on the chair and rest of them have to be on the ground. That's not
that's
the kind
right.
of I don't see it that way. I think if I can move forward, so can you, and so can somebody else. So why
Absolutely.
not just
Yeah,
move along together? So that's
yeah,
really nice to know. You are from a place wherein there are a lot of restriction, I would say, especially for women's. But coming out of that situation and empowering yourself and being an example for a lot of people out there, that's really inspiring. And the reason I really feel inspired, because I usually what happens is, now that I've started this campaign, I go through a lot of profiles, and wherein I when I went through your profile, I really feel inspired. Like this
yeah,
girl, like she's really making herself just putting yourself out there. And as you said, like somebody, just random people just calls you up or texts you up and tells you about stuff that you have put through your post or
mm,
something, created a positive vibe or a positive mindset in them, right? So that's really inspiring, because you don't know what your actions are
mhm,
creating, the ripple effect, I would say.
yeah. And it's funny because all majority of the time we don't think like good things. Our
Exactly.
thoughts don't tell us good things. We have to put those good things in there.
Yes.
So when I'm posting things, sometimes I'm feeling like, self-conscious, or how is this message going to be received? Do I just look up myself? Am I actually doing something that's beneficial? Like, I'm just
Yes.
posting pictures of myself, really. And I started doing all of this by accident because I was approached by Farid from the Vitiligo
Yeah.
International Association's
Yes. Yes.
foundation, and he asked me if I blogged, and at the time I wasn't, and I never had. So I was like, I mean, I could try. And so this is where I started putting myself out there, and I was really nervous about it. I was like, what am I supposed to say? Like, what am I supposed to write about? Never actually said anything.
Yeah.
And so I started writing, and then he asked me if I had any like HD quality photos.
Mm.
So I was like, well, I guess I have to get someone to take some photos. And my friend did some, and then a photographer messaged me, and then it just kept going on from there. And it's been a year now. So yeah, this time last year is kind of when I started all of this stuff. But yeah, it's
It's been a
very
nice
good to
journey,
know.
right? Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
So, where do you see yourself? You've started this, it's been a year already. So, what do you have in your mind for your future? Maybe in terms of awareness or anything that you particularly want to do about this. Not just skin condition,
you're
but
breaking up.
also about the breaking the stereotype in the society.
Yeah, so it's a bit frustrating because I hadn't had to think about this before. So my idea before was to go in a completely different direction. But now that I've started all of this, I started thinking of um, looking at starting a support group here in Adelaide, because there isn't one. We basically just have treatment facilities.
Yeah,
And I don't think that it's necessarily something that needs to be treated, because they treat the skin, they don't necessarily treat the
exactly.
body. And it is an autoimmune disease. It is something
Yes.
to do with your gut health and your immunity. So I started studying naturopathy, which is natural
Hmm.
health.
Hmm.
And so I'm studying to um, do something with that. I don't know where I'm going to go with it, whether I work with children, whether I work with adults, if I do speeches or classes. I don't even
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
The options are limitless at this point. Um, I have a business with my mum as well. We do vegan Lebanese food. It's
Mhm.
called Kayal's Kitchen. So we've got that business going on, and that's been happening for 2 years now.
Okay.
Um, but there's so many things in the works, and it kind of does my life in a little bit, to be honest. I don't know which direction to take right now. To be
Okay.
honest, I'm lost, and I think
I
that's
think,
okay.
yeah. I think you're not lost. I mean, you've already, started your steps towards that journey, that the path that you want for yourself, I guess. Don't you see that way? Because I think you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you.
And things get sorted once you start moving ahead, because there's a lot of thing in your mind that you want to accomplish, but then you don't know how
Yeah,
to approach towards them, like what should be the
that's
first
right.
thing that you should do. But I think things just starts falling onto right places when you start moving ahead and start taking up the opportunity that comes on your way. Like as you mentioned, like Farid just approached you
Yeah,
and talked about it, so you were not sure whether you could do it or not, but then you did it, right? And it came out really
yeah.
beautiful. And he's really an amazing person. Like I've just spoken to him once or twice, and the kind of the work that he's been doing,
Oh,
I
he's
think,
so
yeah, it's
great.
been a year, right,
Yeah,
of starting all his blog posts and stuff,
yeah,
and a really amazing job. And I'm also looking forward to maybe whatever that I can do from my end, or we all can see, in whatever way that we can support, because
yeah,
ultimately everything comes down to one thing, like as a human being, what can you offer back to the society? You are living
yeah.
your life, you are earning, and you are providing your family, and you living a healthy life, but are you giving back something to the society? Because you're taking a lot of things from them, right? Things from the
That's
society.
right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
we really have to figure that thing out, because that's really important. Money cannot give you the satisfaction that comes out of
Oh,
this
yeah.
work that we do, right? So
That's so true.
yeah. So lastly, I would just like to ask you, like, is there something, some message that you would like to give, or from your and your own experience that you would like to share with us? Because there are a lot of people who will be watching this, especially women's, because still I think there's a lot of thing to be done we are still 100 or 200 years back
Oh, tell
backward.
me about it.
And I'm not just talking about India, I'm talking about all over the world. We as a women are
Yeah,
way back, when compared to
yeah.
men in the society. So something that you would like to put across through this video, which can motivate them a bit.
Well, ladies, all I have to say is that we are the bosses. That's all I gotta say. We can be the boss too. It's not hard. We can do it. It is possible, and we can't limit ourselves because of some standard somebody else has set for us, especially some men. And that's not to be misogynistic or whatever the
Yeah,
opposite of
yeah,
that is. I don't think there's equality. I think there should be equity, that everybody
yeah,
should get what they need for themselves. What I
yeah,
need for me is not what you need for you. I might need a little bit more, a little bit less of, you know,
exactly.
this or that. But I think that everybody should honestly believe in themselves. That's where it all comes from. If you know deep inside that this is what you want to do and you think you can do it, you go and do it. That's all. It's all in your head. It doesn't come
Yeah,
from anywhere else. So yeah.
gotta be the boss,
That's about
eventually.
it. You got to be the boss.
Yeah,
Seriously, don't doubt yourself. If you let somebody see that you're doubting yourself, they'll doubt you too.
true.
It might seem a bit arrogant, or people may think that, you're up yourself, or you may seem a bit standoffish. But if you don't think that you are great, how can you expect somebody else to think that?
Exactly.
If you don't love yourself, how can you expect somebody else to love you?
Yeah.
You're selling a product here. Think about it. When you're selling something for business, you don't say, oh, yeah, buy this iPhone, but it's a bit shit and I wouldn't use it, you know? So, yeah, that's it.
That's a
Believe in
beautiful
yourself. Do
message.
it.
And I completely agree to whatever you said. I too believe in taking stand for myself, and I wouldn't anticipate somebody else coming forward and supporting me or pushing me forward. It's my own job, to lead my
That's right.
life. Because again, then if somebody comes and helps me out to stand up, and I'll be dependent upon them, or maybe I'm
That's
giving
right.
them the right to decide my path or my way, right? So if I want
And what
something for
happens when they
myself,
leave?
exactly. So it's gonna be my path, it's gonna be my decision, it's my failure, my success, everything should be,
Yeah,
owned by me.
absolutely.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
really a beautiful message, Sarya. And I'm really glad that we had this conversation. And I hope that, it reaches out to more and more people out there who is in need of hearing these words. Because I think that, there is a lot to be done in the society, but doing the small things, contributing towards the better cause, which can help the society to grow into a better place for all of us, is very important. And we are doing our bit here. So thank you so much for being part of this campaign, and
Thanks
really,
for
really
having me.
grateful to you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thanks so much, Sam.
Thank you.